Hey there guys, this is Reckless with WTBGold, and welcome to my professions video. So, what we're going to be talking about today is a question I've been getting a lot on Twitter and in the comments. I have a feeling all of you are rolling alts right now, because I've been getting all the time people asking me, what's the best profession for XYZ? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The problem with this video is I don't know what you mean by best. Like, are you looking for the most sales at the end of the day? Do you want the most profitable items? Do you want the best thing to go with engineering or dual crafting? I don't know. Or, are you just lazy and you want a WoW token at the end of the month with as little effort as possible? So, what I'm going to be doing, since I can't answer what you mean, because I don't know what you mean, I'm going to try to answer the reason why you'd ask. And that I can do, and then you will know the mentality behind a gold maker's mindset for each profession, and you'll be able to answer that question for yourself. And hopefully, if you have any friends who have a similar question, you can just send them to the video so they can learn and answer that question themselves. So the first thing we're going to be doing is going over a breakdown of the 4 different profession types, when they're good, why you'd get those professions, and then I'm going to build that into an argument for your recommended, what I'm calling the official WTBGold profession toon alt army setup. I should probably put a little bit more thought into that name and market it a little bit better. But let's get going into the guide. So there are 4 profession types. The first one is gathering professions, and these are the ones everyone knows and love. You got herbalism, mining, and skinning, but also don't forget about tailoring and fishing. You can gold cap with farming cloth. You can gold cap with fishing fish. Now, these are great for new toons because it doesn't require a whole lot of knowledge of the auction house or knowledge of the game. You don't have to be well geared. You don't have to have a lot of gold. All you need to do is find a spot that you enjoy farming and do that. And then you post it up on the auction house in stacks of 1 or 20 or 100. It doesn't matter. You just get it up and you get your gold. Now, the problem with it is also the benefit, where you are just trading your time for gold. So if you have a family and a job, this can be kind of hard to juggle. So what I recommend you do, if you don't like dedicating time to farming, if that's boring for you, just get into the habit of never passing up a node on your minimap. Whenever you see that little yellow dot, just take 10 seconds out of doing world quests and go gather that node. And then you'll find that it's fine. You spend about the same amount of time doing your world quests, and at the end of the day, you got a stack of every ore, you got a stack of every herb, and bam, 100k extra per week. And you're happy, you're good, you're set. Now, these professions, as far as when you should use them, a funny thing happens whenever Blizzard introduces a new material or a new item. The first week, prices start off stupidly crazy, and then every single week, prices drop by 20 to 30% for the first 2 months the item is out. And then it kind of levels off at about a quarter of what it started at week 1. So what this means is that if you spend the first month a new material is out, if you spend your time gathering that material, 1 hour spent farming when a material is new is equivalent to 3, 4, 5 hours farming 6 months down the road. The next profession type is armor crafting professions, and these are tailoring, leatherworking, and blacksmithing. And these are if gathering professions is the introductory, are the introductory professions, this is kind of the beginner professions, where all you need to do to make gold with these is to craft 1 of everything profitable and put it up on the auction house. You already have the gathering professions, so you can supply yourself with raw materials, and you've already got a little bit of gold from the gathering professions, so you can just start to buy any materials that you don't have, any little odds and ends that you need. These start to get you used to the auction house and being consistently being the cheapest, and the best time to utilize, fully go ham on these professions is at the start of each patch. And the reason for that is the same that with the gathering professions, is that Blizzard tends to introduce new recipes each patch, whether it's PvP blues or recipes for epic BOEs that drop from raids, or whether it's like rep-gated stuff. There's always going to be something new each patch, so go ham on your crafters whenever a new patch comes out. So the next thing is the buff consumables. This is the next profession type, and this is enchanting and alchemy and jewel crafting and cooking. Now, the interesting thing about these is that it's not really dependent on just being the cheapest on the auction house and just having something up on the auction house. You need to start understanding how to get cheaper materials and how to play the auction house so you sell things at the best time, because these are all dependent on your server's raiding schedule. They're purchased primarily by raiders. So, if you post these Tuesday evenings through Thursday evenings, you're going to sell a bunch, but you need to start to learn how to overcut and how to maximize your stack sizes, all that good stuff. And naturally, since it's tied to raiding, the best time to go ham on these is not necessarily whenever a new patch comes out, but whenever Blizzard introduces a new raid or a new type of end-game content. Whenever people are going to be getting a lot of new gear that they need to enchant or put gems in. The final profession type is the one-time use consumables. And generally this is going to be pets, but we can also throw inscription in there and anything that makes mounts. So pretty much every profession part of it can get lumped into here, but we're mainly going to call this engineering and inscription, because engineering is kind of the pet and mount profession, and inscription is just all about glyphs, and all of those are one-time use. Now, the interesting thing about this, as far as when you should be using this, is that these are highly competitive professions, and you need to pretty much these are the advanced professions. You need to know how to push people out of your server, push your competitors out, how to buy up things, how to post in walls. You need to do all sorts of crazy stuff in order to really dominate with these. And as far as the best time to post them, these are interesting because that feeling you get whenever your raid team goes out and you finally beat the heroic boss and you're like, yeah, but then the next week you kind of look at each other and you're like, well, we already beat it. What do we do now? I guess I'm gonna roll an alt. Whenever you get that feeling of like, I don't know what to do in the game right now, I'm bored, that's when you should start selling pets. That's when you should start crafting glyphs and doing this one-time use consumables, because whenever your server is rolling a lot of alts, that's when these professions get more and more. That's when the demand for these professions gets higher. People start doing pet battles. People start needing glyphs on their alts. So that is the 4 profession types. Let's get into how to use these into an alt, the WTBGold official alt army profession setup. So the first toon I'm going to recommend is the Duel Gatherer. This guy is a druid and he has mining and herbalism. The reason why we're combining mining and herbalism is just because it sucks to need a bunch of ore and a bunch of herbs, and you go out farming for 45 minutes for ore, and then you go out to you swap over to another toon, and you go out to the exact same route and farm herbs for 45 minutes, when you could just get on a miner herbalist and spend an hour farming both. This is a great first toon for someone who's just looking to get into gold making. If you don't have these professions, just level up a druid, and then get that druid out there mining and herbing. You want to make sure this guy always has a stack of Darkmoon Firewater on him at all times, in addition to the glove enchants or you want a Sky Golem if you aren't a druid, because instant cast Flight Form is amazing, but the Sky Golem at least lets you gather herbs without dismounting. Now, the next toon I'm going to recommend I like to call the Assassin. This guy's great. The profession setup is kind of weird, but just bear with me, you'll understand in a second. It's skinning and tailoring. What? Skinning and tailoring? Yeah. So these are the 2 professions that the gold per hour you can make depends on your eye level, your gear. You want this toon to be your most geared toon, or at least a well-geared alt, because the faster you can round up and kill a whole bunch of things, a big pack, the more things you can pull together and survive, and then the faster you can kill them, the more gold you're going to be able to get when you skin their bodies or loot their bodies for cloth. So the other great thing about this profession, or about this toon, is that since you have one gathering profession and one crafting profession, you start to kind of dip your toes into the waters of the auction house, into the auction house hot tub. Now, the next toon I'm going to recommend is the Duel Crafter. And this guy, you know, we already kind of dipped our toe into the hot tub of the auction house. Now we're just gonna curl ourselves up into a cannonball and just splash our goods all over the auction house. This guy is a blacksmith and a leather worker. And you want this guy to be your oldest toon because these are the two professions that have the most expensive old world transmog. Like you're crafting current content stuff. You're putting one or two of each of those up on the auction house all the time. But also you're crafting one of the old school stuff, and you'll have more professions or more profession recipes available if you've got Exalted with all the old world factions. So do that, or, you know, if you don't want this guy to be your oldest toon, if you're already kind of married to that toon's profession setup, then, you know, just a toon that you run transmog runs with, because that's another way of getting Exalted fairly quickly with all these old world factions. And the final toon is what I like to call the CD monkey. This is Alchemy and Engineering, and this is a toon that you don't have to, you know, if you ever rolled an alt that you didn't like. I am an awful mage. I die to everything on my mage. I don't get how they play. So my mage is an alchemist and an engineer. And so what you do is you just park this toon in Panda Portal Palace, where engineers have access to a bank and a mailbox and an auction house all right together. You log into them for 15 seconds a day, and you make your living steel cooldown and any other transmutes you want to make. And you make your jards cooldown and any other cooldowns for pets that you want to make. And that's it. At the end of the month, you got a Sky Golem that you can sell for 100k. You're good to go, and you can make various pets throughout that time. So that is it as far as my recommended professions. You may notice that that didn't include all the professions out there. And that's because I don't want to tell you exactly what to do with each profession. Like with enchanting, every raid group needs an enchanter. I'm not going to tell you to get rid of enchanting if that works for you. These are just my opinions based on my experience and what I've heard talking to other gold makers for 10 years now. Jeez. There are lots of other really good combos, like, mining and jewel crafting goes really well together. Mining and engineering goes really well together. If you like the idea of arbitrage, you can do jewel crafting and enchanting, because every expansion has a shuffle where you make rings, you get ore, you make rings from it, and then you disenchant those rings, and you make a little bit of profit each step of that shuffle. But some people, for whatever reason, think it's boring to just sit in Stormwind all the time and just click that destroy next button over and over and over for an hour and a half. I don't know why you're making gold, but if that's boring to you, then that's not going to be fun. And the whole point of all of this isn't to tell you this is how you absolutely have to make gold. I'm not telling you to delete the professions off your toons or delete toons and start over and you have to have a druid. What I'm trying to get you to do is to think about how to efficiently make gold based on how you play the game. Because if you're efficiently making gold and you're having fun making that gold, then it's not work, it's enjoyable, and you can get out, you will have the gold to be able to get out and play the game the way you want. And that's always been why I do my gold guide videos, so y'all can just have fun enjoying this wonderful World of Warcraft. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them for me down in the comments. If you think you absolutely need to have a gatherer and a crafter together for Blood of Sargeras farming, then I will fight you on that. I am prepared. Bring it. Go ahead and try to argue with me on that. But subscribe, like the video, and if you have any friends who have a similar question, go ahead, recommend this video to them. I'd greatly appreciate that. It'll help the channel grow. So have a great day, guys. Good luck and happy gold making. Test. This is the start of the video.